Welcome, and happy weekend to you all. Welcome to the Schnozzcast. I am your interim host, Nick, with my awesome co-hosts tonight, Cory and Mr. Todd Money Dillon. Bob is on special assignment, trying to go back home again, which we know you can't ever do.
Trying to relive those college years.
Yeah, hey. When that person made up that saying of you just can't go back home again, Bob said, I'll fucking show you. Fuck off. That's where I'm going to go. Right back home. My uniform may not fit anymore, but it almost seems like the town is welcoming me back.
Todd, you've been to Alma with Bob on these weekends, have you not?
I don't participate in that. But
okay. Well, since you don't participate in it, I'm sorry, I thought you did, so I didn't want to make too much fun of him and also give you grief about it.
Oh, you can make fun. You can make fun.
It's
a bunch of dusty old mofos talking about the time when they played football with leather helmets. And Bob's really old. So
we didn't even have pads in my day.
Exactly.
Because you know what it kind of makes me think of is Al Bundy wearing his Polk High jersey.
Oh, yeah.
And I can just see Bob and the buddies that go with him, like in these very ill-fitting little football jerseys, walking around like cut-off jean shorts, trying to hang out with the frat kids.
For those of you who don't know, Todd is on special assignment, Bob's on special assignment up at his old alma mater, Elma, up in Elma, Michigan. It's something he does every year. That being said, we'll come right back to that in 2 seconds because we are the Schnozzcast. We are your new favorite podcast. If you'd like to check us out, first time listening, welcome. If you've never heard us before, you can check us out anywhere, SCHNOZZCAST. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Podbean, iHeartRadio, or anywhere you get your favorite podcasts, all at Schnozzcast. Make sure to check us out on YouTube. Give us a like, subscribe. Hopefully one day after about 25 years, we'll get monetized, and we'll get one of those plaques in the mail for
right when YouTube takes a shit. We'll get monetized.
Yeah, I mean,
no, I'm serious. Hey, I was in the tube in London, and I heard mention of the Schnozzcast, and I was pretty proud. I'm like, for a bunch of no talent hacks and me, we're doing pretty good.
Yeah,
and you, huh?
Cory and Todd, you will wait for no one to ask you how you're doing this evening. But how the hell are you guys?
Oh, hello. Not too bad. How about yourself, Sam?
Hey, okay, so we're going to scratch off the podcast list is asking both of you at the same time how you are because that doesn't work.
Exactly. It creates collisions.
Cory's okay. Collisions. Todd, how are you?
I am omnipotent.
All right. He's like, you really fucking threw me for a loop. I had this new word set up and everything, and then you asked us both at the same time, and it was a fucking tailspin. How am I supposed to throw my omnipotent in there? Anyhow.
Exactly. And I owe $1 to the mispronunciation bucket. But yeah. I do get a pass. I had surgery this week, and my lip is all jacked up, so I can't. I'm having trouble enunciating. I'm omnipotent.
We gave Cory a pass on his teeth days. So we'll give Todd a pass on this.
You're still a little awkward.
Exactly. So, what the teeth, the lips, the tip of the tongue. What is about? I don't know what he says. Anyhow, grab a shot. It's a drinking podcast. One episoder tonight. Normally we do back to back. Sometimes I don't know if you guys notice. We try and do back to back episodes, and we hide the second episode only to release to you on a later date. If you're catching us live. If you've never caught us live before, if you've downloaded us and you want to catch us live, check us out on Facebook and YouTube. Give us a like, subscribe, and turn those notifications on because you'll be able to see every time. You'll be able to comment when we actually do the show. Though we vary at different times, we typically on Saturday nights do the show anywhere between 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So come check us out. Give us a follow. We'd love to hear from you guys. If you got something in front of you.
Some people aren't prompt.
Some people are not prompt. If you got something in front of you.
I don't know who that is, Todd.
Some sort of libation. Get it together. Get yourselves fucking together. We are an explicit drinking podcast. Fucking put your panties in your purse and do a shot with us.
The fuck you say?
Cheers.
Salute. And what if I don't have panties or a purse?
Well, oh, you know what? If we could pan one of these 3 cameras, Bob's not here with us in spirit, but there are physical attributes of Bob still here.
Why does he have such dusty elbows?
Nope. People often ask me. They say, Nick, you're crazy. What do you like? I'll say to the guys, I'll say, I wash the tablecloths for the tables that we do for the podcast, and they're like, okay. And they're looking at me like I'm insane, like as if, it's some hand-embroidered Thanksgiving family heirloom tablecloth, and they're just all black that we got like at Party City. But this is exactly why. It looks like you took 2 of those little snowball cakes and just like rubbed them all over the table. I was thinking of, when you were in grade school and the teacher would make you go clap out the erasers for the chalkboard. Yes. It's like someone took 2 erasers from the chalkboard and just patted them right on from a teacher's chalkboard that hasn't dusted them out in 30 years. Yeah. There's some. This is one night. This is one night. One night. I'm starting to get sick to my stomach, so we're gonna have to go. I say, why do you keep touching it? I don't know. It's just I'm grabbing it from the bottom. Todd, you can't see it, but there are very noticeable white, ashy, grapefruit-sized circles on the tablecloth from where Bob puts his ashy elbows. Yeah, he's got some. Put some lotion on. Exactly. Put some lotion on it. Very dry elbows. Some cocoa butter. You need cocoa butter. Cocoa butter. Some Aaron Neville cocoa butter. Some cocoa butter. No. That's what you need. That's right. And for those who ashy elbows. To go back to those that want to get in touch with us, how can they do that, Nick? Well, if you want to get in touch with us, you can reach out to us on any of the social platforms I told you about, or you can call or text anytime on 618-SHOCKER, the Shocker line, or you can email us at schnozzcast@gmail.com. Thank you, sir. You're welcome. Shocker. I like to keep you on your toes, Corey. This isn't a Bob Rankin podcast. I know. It's not Cookie. It's Nick Bader has got the Mack truck wheel. Who's at Bob this Rankin? Point. Exactly. I will say Bob has gotten very set in his ways of how everything's opened up and how we go through things. Mm-hmm. It's definitely set. Those boomers will do that. Boomers will do. I remember when I said boomers last week. Todd bridled a little bit. I think he almost spit out his drink. All right, so Corey, why don't you tell the listeners, just give everyone a little bit of an idea of what you and I personally did today. Dude, we had quite the day today. Mm-hmm. So what'd you do? Todd, every year, except for last year, why didn't we do it last year? Was there just not enough time? You digress. I do digress. I kept talking. You know what? I think last year, especially with me personally, I had just started my new job. We had just come off of a vacation that was pretty expensive for Bob. And that's right. Yeah. And so, he was nice enough to say, hey, look, just because all the stuff going on with your job, you just got a new job. I know you don't have money because I wasn't going to go on vacation. And he said, Corey and I have talked about it and, pay us back whenever you like, but we got you. We'll take care of you. And that's what friends do. And I love you guys for that. But I know personally at the time, retrospectively looking back on it, I was not financially in the place to go out and spend, $200 on supplies. So I let it go. And because I think I wasn't writing you guys about it, I think you guys were just like, Yeah, no, it's again, it's not something like I don't hate doing it by any means. But yeah, what's it? Okay, so damn it, Todd. So every year we make apple pie moonshine. I'll give it like a quote unquote homemade. Would that be fair to say, Nick? What the homemade? Yeah. Quote unquote homemade. Yeah. We're not making our own cider and shit like that. Quote unquote. Because like if we were making our own apple cider and then you'd be boss, but you're not. Yeah. Unfortunately, we're not at Todd's level yet, where we can have an apple cider press in our backyard. And have fresh apple cider year round. But
We do go
different
to
story.
different story of different time. We go to local orchards. We actually went to the Plymouth Orchard today, picked up a shit ton of different apples, got some of the cider from there. Also stopped at Kroger to get some of Mott's famous apple juice. The apple juice doesn't really matter. You can get that from wherever. But we did pick up some more cider from Kroger, some more Michigan cider. And then we get a shit ton of alcohol and mix it all together. A shit ton. Is
a shit ton metric?
It's a unit of measurement.
Imperial or what? Yeah. What's the
it's
scale
a variation
that, we're talking about here? Okay.
It's a variation. Before you continue, I just wanted to let the audience hear something. And this is unadulterated, completely haven't touched this. Haven't even heard it myself. Haven't even heard it. So this
I don't even think that's a real word. Unadulterated. Yeah,
sure. It's a word. And and here we go. Ready?
Hey, this is your erstwhile once in a blue moon co-host, Bob Rankin, calling to say, hey, fellas, I saw your pretty faces out on the internet and was a little bit confused because we decided we weren't going to podcast tonight. And then all of a sudden, I get a notification saying that you're going live tonight. And in my alcohol-addled state, thought maybe I might be seeing things, and maybe this isn't real. But upon texting Cory, he's like, "Nope, we're going live." Like, what the hell? I don't understand what's going on. Right? Just want to wish you guys good luck, good podcast, and sending you all sorts of love from mid-Michigan. See you.
And that's why he's our buddy. Bob Rankin's got all the booze, all the college-age tale he can find.
Jesus.
And you know what?
Oh, that one's going to hurt when he listens back to it.
And you know what? He's worried about us. And that's why.
Have you ever seen Mid-Michigan College Tale? It's called cow tipping for a reason.
He is one of our good friends. Cory, I'm not sure why you texted me and said address again.
Can you send it to me, please?
My address?
Yes.
Sure. Yeah. So anyhow, we continue. Bob, we miss you. This was a last minute decision.
I did not.
Cory.
Yeah, I told him in the text that it's a long story, but we'll explain to him later.
It's about getting the job done. It's about being there for your friends. It's about doing the work. It's about putting in the time. It's about being a professional, damn it.
Well, I'm going to do a line of Bob Elbow Dust just so he's really with me during this show.
Nick,
put on that cocoa butter. Make that dude put on some cocoa butter. You don't have to snip his elbow powder.
First, okay.
Nick, one more time. Please do the cocoa butter. Please do it.
Cocoa butter. No. First of all, yes, we are going to have to get Bob a lot of cocoa butter.
Yeah. Yes.
Secondly, I don't know if I can stomach the thought of you doing a line of Bob's elbow dust.
I'm willing to pay. I'm willing to pay real cash money, hard money.
And Todd,
for all the things I've not come through on, I will send a Venmo check right now if somebody actually lines up a line of Bob's elbow powder and sniffs it on air. That will be comedy gold, and I will pay for it. I promise.
You just spoke it into existence, and now I'm getting nauseous. So I'm very concerned about my drink because it's very close to that location. So I feel like that if I'm a little too flamboyant with my hands, that this dust is going to fly up into my drink.
So Todd,
sniff that dust.
Todd, your thought was my next thought as far as yes, if Nick were to do that, I don't care what amount of money I would have to pay.
Exactly.
But now that you're throwing your wallet in the ring.
No. I'm throwing my wallet in the ring. I'm throwing the wallet in the ring. I'm willing to give you if you can scratch that up, get a credit card out, make yourself a line of that elbow dust, and sniff it up. God. I'm willing to pay $200 right now live to see this is. You guys talk about putting us on the national and international stage. I got people in Ireland waiting for people to sniff elbow dust. People haven't seen this before. This is a new level of challenge.
You got to pronounce it. You got to pronounce it. You got to pronounce it right. It's Ireland.
But now that elbow dust is sounding more appealing.
I was just going to say, Corey's like, I did spend a lot of money today.
Corey's like,
all those fucking fancy apples and $12 gallons of cider. He's like, oh, man. And we didn't just get one. It's not 1 gallon of cider.
And we got a shit ton of cider.
Multiple gallons of cider, multiple bushels of apples to make this apple pie moonshine that we make. No, we don't ferment our own spirits. We're not from Kentucky. Not that there's anything wrong with that other than the fact that it's illegal and you could kill yourself or go blind. But we do make our own version of apple pie moonshine, which is why we got all this stuff. And I think to Cory, that 200 is sounding pretty good right about now. For a little Bob Rankin in your system.
I'm waiting to hear Mary coming up the stairs. You're not paying anybody $200 to do anything, damn
it. Cory shows up next week. His hair and beard are all silver. He's like, I don't understand what the fuck's going on. What the fuck just happened?
I have the sudden urge to go to Alma.
Yeah. So hopefully he's out there having a good time. Yeah, we went to the orchard today.
Yeah, boy.
To get all those supplies. I mean, you know what? When in Rome, do as the Romans, right? So we've talked about this before. I like the idea inadvertently. So we kind of mix a bunch of things together and boil it, and then we add booze to it, and then we bottle it, and it's phenomenal. People have thrown money at us for this. No all jokes aside, people have, please, can we buy a mason jar full of this? It's good.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, because Caldwell, was it Caldwell the one year that he didn't make it, that he ended up giving us like $250? Oh, no. The year that he made it with us, he sold like maybe 8 jars of it to his uncle for like $250. And we recouped our everything we spent for all the products that we needed. We recouped all that immediately from just what he sold to his uncle.
Oh yeah, dude. One of the first or the second year that we did it, because we all get together. Todd's kind of on the outside of this. He, would definitely be there. He's just logistically not close enough.
And the odd thing is, you guys are talking about Michigan apples when I am in the apple capital of the world. There's nothing better than a Honeycrisp or Cosmic Crisp apple from Washington State. And
that's
so
true.
You guys are making inferior moonshine or apple pie or whatever you want to call it, because the best apples are in Washington. Also best cherries, also best host of this show, also just tons of things.
We're gonna have to draw a line there, Big Bunny.
Getting all carried away there.
Yeah. So, yeah, apples were made famous in Washington by George Washington or Ben Franklin or somebody, and but Michigan is very well known for apples. We also have Honeycrisps, and they are phenomenal. They are amazing. Listen, you are from Michigan, my short friend. You are from Michigan.
But taller than Cory.
That's true.
Nope, I think we have some proof of that.
Which, by the way,
today.
I will have to show you from today, Todd. We're going to have to send this out, and maybe Cory can put this on the screen if he has enough time. I don't know if there'll be enough, but I have said a couple times that Cory is 3 apples high. Apparently, that's not true. Apparently, he's not even 1 apple high, according to this chart.
It's a stupid chart.
Nice. so I'll send that to you. Nice. But anyhow, so we make this. We used to in the past. We used to just go to the grocery store, get apples, and cider and things like that to make it. But I'm like, look, it's like being in Georgia and wanting to make like a peach moonshine and be like, yeah, I guess we'll get our peaches from the Bahamas. Like, no, that makes 0 sense. You're in fucking Georgia. We have tons of peaches here in Georgia. Like, we're in Michigan. Let's go to some orchards, drive a little bit, and Cory's putting it up on the screen right now from the orchard. And the
orchard.
answer Answer to your question is no. He was not tall enough to get on that ride.
He's not tall enough to ride the ride, is he?
No.
Dashed again.
So if you can't see, but right next to his glasses is the 5-foot line. He's just over the 5-foot line.
That's a terrible, terrible ruler.
If he hadn't had his flip flops on, he could have had his lifts in, his heighteners.
Yeah, he could have had his hey tall dudes in.
Hey, I'll tell you what. I was the tallest kid waiting in line for that picture.
Cory did ask me. He said, Nick, for the podcast, are you interested in holding hands and skipping while videotaping?
I was trying to get a sweet video
in front of all these families and children, and I told him to his face, no, absolutely not. We are not doing that. Dude, there are...
Well, you probably told it to his forehead. I mean, that's part of his face, technically.
We could barely walk because there were so many families and children. Could you imagine if us two jackasses started skipping and holding hands and trying to videotape it? Like, no, I'm good.
I had a beautiful scene set up.
Yeah.
I knew exactly where the camera was going to go, and Nick, no, we're not doing that.
That's right.
It's called a vignette.
No. I'm like, dude.
Oh, what?
Vignette.
Sure.
Listen, I paid for a sunset hayride for just the two of us, and I was not going to spoil it by skipping through the fucking orchard like jackasses, okay?
Yeah, I never did get that hayride.
Oh, we did.
Oh, did we?
Remember we played that toss the donut game?
Oh, yeah. Why'd you have to have your pants down for that again?
Well, Cory. So anyhow.
Got every donut right on there.
Anyhow.
Ate them right off.
Well,
Todd Dillon, I need to know your thoughts on the holidays,
yes,
on this holiday season.
So I don't think that Halloween season is technically a holiday season.
Sir?
But I'm down with...
You watch yourself. Sorry, continue.
I am down with Halloween. I mean, ultimately, here's the funny thing. I think I'm always amazed at how many people embrace the Halloween season, but I am in because yesterday, even though I'm in recovery, Mary and I, we went out and went to a haunted woods setup at Marist Farms here in Washington, and what an amazing thing. They had a great dinner, a great light show. They had a 40-minute walk through both buildings and a cornfield maze. Absolutely spectacular. They had probably 40 actors. They had the local high school actors group doing a dances to Thriller. They didn't have any Insane Clown Posse, so I put that on the suggestion pad because you can't have Halloween properly unless you're listening to a little bit of ICP. That sets the stage. But all in all, I'm down with Halloween. But my childhood rearing had me a little bit away from that because, you know, my parents didn't have any money, and I used to wear the $3.99 Kmart specials where you had that plastic Batman mask and that plastic cape, and it would be all shredded in about 15 minutes of trick or treating. And then I remember, I think when I was like in 7th grade, my bought me like a really nice rubber gorilla outfit and the gloves. And I had a younger brother and sister, and they were absolutely terrified of it. And they would start bawling incessantly every time I put it on. So I was not allowed to wear that until I was an adult, which subsequently kind of ruined Halloween for me. Yeah, till I was like 21 years old. Like they stayed. Like my mom took it away. She bought it for me. Mm-hmm. My brother and sister got terrified, and then it was locked away in a closet. And then she gave it back to me when I was an adult. And says, "Here you go. If you want to dress as a gorilla for Halloween."
When you were a child,
and then
your mom got you a gorilla costume that she locked away. And when you were 21,
after it terrified the younger kids,
you were still able to fit in a child's gorilla costume at 21
because he's so short.
I was a strapping man,
strappingly small. Early.
Okay,
Cory. I didn't say that I had a growth spurt or anything. You know, I was as big as I was when I was in the 6th grade. I am now.
That's terrifying, but okay.
Oh my God!
I rule the playground. I rule the playground.
That child can throw a dodgeball at 70 miles per hour. It's crazy.
Exactly. I was not bullied in grade school.
Clearly.
Or actually, I was only bullied once.
Mrs. Dillon, it is February 14th. I understand that it's a nice costume, but he is swinging around from the playground wearing it at school and scaring all the rest of the children.
He was.
Oh man, so that begs the question then. Do you think Halloween is a legitimate holiday? Because I think you know the answer that Cory and I have.
Oh, dude.
Well, I don't get the day off. And it turns out, as much as I enjoy Halloween and the Halloween season, if you will, I've kind of regressed into a Halloween of leisure. Like, so my costume, again, if there's a party with costumes, I am down. But you know what I wear? I wear some army fatigues that are comfortable. I wear a beret. I got all the stuff. I go as a serviceman, and
stolen valor.
I don't claim to have done anything.
And then Todd also goes to every McDonald's in the area and gets free McDonald's that night. Goes to his local VFW.
Try and sign up for USAA again.
Yeah, goes to the local VFW and yells at all the old Vietnam vets that he was
bingo, bitches.
He was in Afghanistan. Vietnam means nothing. That's
I do not steal valor. I just go for a comfort play when it comes to dressing up for Halloween.
Don't you think it's kind of amazing that at the moment that you were started to steal valor, we have our resident veteran that came in the room at the time, just with enough time to hear you. Kevin Cromwell came in the room.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. United States Army Airborne.
He wasn't airborne.
Yeah.
Was he really?
Yep.
Thank you for your service.
Kevin was.
I didn't steal valor. I just dress up. I want to dress up. I want to be comfortable. And it turns out those fatigues are not half bad. I wear the boots. I got the whole get up on, and I'm comfortable. And I don't have to wear no makeup, none of that. Because it turns out being Blacula for 2 years in a row, that's a lot of work.
Oh, never mind. I'm not even gonna say what I was gonna say.
Blacula is a whole lot of work.
But I'll say, yeah, Blacula.
Blade is late to the game. Like now, if I didn't have all my
get the fuck out. Blade's not late. Blade's not late to the game. You're too fucking short and big to be Blade.
Hold on. Here's my question. So did you had the cape and the teeth and all that?
When I was Blacula?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
and a wig, the works.
So the black hair, the makeup, all that good stuff.
I look like Al Sharpton in a nice black suit. The works. I did Blacula for 2 years, but it was a lot of work.
So you had white face on?
No, I was Blacula.
Oh, okay. So no white makeup.
No white makeup.
Okay.
That's how I was going to make a joke about all the black
Gen
makeup he had to
Zers
put
don't
on.
know anything about Blacula. Blacula is a real thing.
I'm very aware of it, Todd. Very aware.
Gen Z. Gen Z.
Yeah, but isn't Dracula supposed to be dead? Dracula's supposed to be dead, so he's so pasty because he's dead.
Blacula is all the way live. He actually has rhythm. He can dance. He's sweet. He ain't smooth on the ladies. The ladies like Blacula's like he's the freaking he's the bomb, but he's high maintenance. You got to get that hair don't hold up on its own. That's a fresh perm. It's the works. It's a lot of work. That's why I moved to the Army fatigues because I'm like, I'm sick of working this hard for people not recognize that I'm not Dracula. I'm Blacula.
Todd says, I need to get free shit easier. I'm going to put on a U.S. service uniform. That's exactly what he did.
I think that was probably the moment where Todd was like, you know what?
Todd,
this all this hair, this for the birds. I need to shave this off.
Exactly.
I can grow it at any time I want. Yep.
Anytime I want. Every day, all day.
Todd said I wasn't getting free drinks going to the bar as Blacula, but I'll tell you what, I threw on that U.S. Army uniform, free drinks all night long. They asked me if, like, oh, it's a cool costume. Todd was like, costume for what? Like, oh, it's Halloween, man. It's not a costume. Todd's like, oh, I didn't even know it was Halloween.
Well, thank you for actually. So I do have a fallback costume if it's unseasonably warm here in Washington for a Halloween party and it's a dress up. Then you know what I don? I don my German lederhosen. I put on my black German gear. I got my lederhosen and all my get up on. So I got my leather shorts on. I got my nice high socks. Dude, I dance a jig and boil a sausage like nobody's business. So I'm down for comfort these days.
I do what with a sausage? Costume. I heard something about smoke a sausage.
Who doesn't smoke sausages?
That's all I needed to know. Hang on. And you said leather lederhosen. Is lederhosen traditionally leather?
Leder is leather auf Deutsch biatch.
There you go.
Lederhosen is leather pants auf Deutsch. So yes, I do have real German lederhosen that I procured when I went to Oktoberfest in Munich, and I wore that shit like a boss.
Did you still have the James Brown Blacula hair? Or?
I didn't do any cross-cultural things.
Okay.
That might be a new thing. You know, Blacula in Germany. Maybe that's what I'll do since we have a whole season here. Since Halloween's technically not a holiday, and we have a season, maybe I'll be Blacula in lederhosen this year because still comfortable. Although, you know, I got to sit in that chair, got to grow my hair out, sit in that chair, get my hair done. That's a lot of work, bro. A lot of work.
We could call you Jermaine.
The least talented Jackson.
That took me a solid second to realize.
Cory looked at me with Garfield eyes for like 2 minutes and just stared at me, and he was like, It finally came to him.
Sorry, I was trying to do something. I didn't fully hear what you were saying.
Yeah. All right, we got a shot sitting in front of us, guys. It's not a long show tonight, but let's cheers.
Cheers.
Hang on.
Hang on.
Todd is supposed to have them at the ready.
Give me a sec.
All right, we'll give you a sec.
What?
Guess what I did? I just finished another fifth of Crown Apple.
Wow.
All right. Let's do it, brother. Salute.
Ready? Cheers.
Ready.
To Blacula.
That always reminds me of the one Office Halloween episode when Daryl was dressed up as a vampire, and like I can't remember who it was, but like, oh, you're Blacula? He's like, no, I'm a vampire. Like, well played, Daryl.
Oh my God! All right, Todd. I heard you either had some sort of thorn in your claw, your craw, or
a thorn in your claw,
or your craw.
Yeah. How did you get a thorn in the claw?
Or you had some sports that you wanted to talk about.
Well, I can bitch about some things.
All right.
The Festivus begins with the airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're going to hear about it. As a rain blows upon him, I realized there had to be another way. What happened to the duck? It was destroyed. At the Festivus dinner, you gather your
Ladies and gentlemen, the airing of Grievances, Todd Dillon.
Yeah, boy. I got a grievance for you today. I, Todd Dillon, am sick of people celebrating holidays that ain't holidays. So, first of all, Halloween is not a holiday. I mean, I dress up and everything. I'm down with the season, but it is not a holiday. I don't get the day off. Do you get the day off? I didn't think so. I mean, if you take the day off, what?
Nothing. Continue.
I'm like, Halloween is not a holiday. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am down with the clowns who want to dress up and do their fun stuff, but it is not a holiday because I do not, and you don't either. And even if you love it, even if you make moonshine, if you do all the other shit, it is not a holiday. So what I'm saying to you people who think that Halloween is a holiday, you can enjoy the day. You can have fun on the day. I'll come to your place, put on my military gear, drink a few drinks with you, tell a joke. I will have fun. I'll even go. Last night went to the Haunted Woods, went to the Haunted Woods factory, 40-minute walk through a beautiful corn maze and buildings of scary delights. But you know what? Halloween isn't. It's not a holiday because I do not get the day off. So anybody out there who calls Halloween, you're getting it wrong. Not a holiday, and that's my grievance.
Todd Dillon, a lot of holidays are deeply rooted from religious beliefs or superstitions or things like that. So,
like Labor Day?
Yeah, just like Labor Day. So my question
like
to you...
President's Day?
Yep.
Columbus Day?
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? We here in
Valentine's Day?
We here in the United States...
Not a holiday.
First of all, don't put an M in Valentine's Day.
We black people do, it seems.
All right, this jar is going to get full a lot quicker than I thought. So, but also, we in the United States, we are very outspoken, very free, proud people, and we're very inclusive. And so, you know, the more diverse we got, the more we wanted to celebrate everybody. And so we're coming up with days all the time, which is fantastic. Some of the original holidays that we recognized and we don't recognize, or that people celebrate and necessarily like the federal government doesn't recognize, Halloween is kind of roped into one of those things. There's only, as far as work is concerned, there's only like 6, depending on your job, 5, 6 federal holidays. As far as what, you know, some jobs will recognize and what they have to recognize and pay you, you know, time and a half, holiday pay, whatever. So that being said, we know the easy ones like Christmas and Easter and things like that. Where did Halloween come from?
Well, actually, Easter doesn't. Nobody gets a day off for that, do they?
I know they don't.
That's religious.
I know. But which is weird because you could go down a whole rabbit hole of, well, why are we as a country celebrating something that is deep diving and supportive of one specific religion? Like, that doesn't make sense. If it was some sort of devil worshiping holiday, that I would feel horrible, you know, taking the day off for something like that, you know. But that being said,
but damn it, the Wiccans need to be freaking acknowledged.
They need to be acknowledged. Where's the fucking horny goat weed? Where's the fucking toad's breath? Let's get it together. But that being said, so Halloween, what do you think, you know, and Cory can't answer this because he has access to his computer and he's actively looking things up, so I don't trust that he hasn't already Googled it. But where do you think where do you think Halloween came from, Todd?
Where do I think it came from? That's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
Geez, I think it's a great marketing ploy. I'm not sure the origins of Halloween or how it started. I don't know. I think ultimately now it's monetized and it's a whole season and system. And it turns out,
you are correct there. You are definitely correct there. But what holiday nowadays is not monetized and made for exactly that?
Mm-hmm.
Every single
don't disagree.
one.
That's why 100%. That's why. Hey, my better half and I tussle every year over Christmas season because I am religious. I am a person of God. I'm a Christian, but I think Christmas has been totally sold out, pimped out, whored out, you name it. Because are people nicer to you during the holidays? No, you want to literally the Festivus music kind of belies it. It's Frank Costanza started raining blows because they were fighting over a doll in the store. When really the season is about the savior and a person who wants us all to get along, not fight each other for gifts. So yes, I think the monetization of these holidays and seasons, if you will, have kind of wrecked them a little bit. But no, I'm with you there. I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say that they haven't all been monetized. And even and ultimately, anyone will tell you Valentine's Day is 100% all about the money.
Oh, dude, beyond belief.
More hearts are broken on Valentine's Day than.
Now, I will say too, especially for Valentine's Day, that Nick didn't have his headphones on. He missed the other two that Todd said. So yeah, that's like the epitome of a Hallmark holiday.
And Halloween is similar.
No. That I will, as far as origins, Todd, I will tell you, you're definitely incorrect there.
Okay. Educate me.
The idea of Halloween is from a long time ago. Yes, it has changed.
What's a long time ago? 1732?
Like over 2,000 years.
Okay, give me the history. Give it to us. Educate us. This is a drinking/educational podcast. Tell us about it.
I believe it was originated in England by the Celts, and it was technically their New Year on October 31st, and they believed that was the day.
You're so full of shit. You looked up shit online, is what you did.
I did. I've been looking at you this entire time.
No, you haven't. When I looked over at you and made that comment, you were looking at your computer.
I was sending a message. I can show you the message too.
Yeah. No. Okay. Anyhow, continue. So I think I asked the question where it came from.
You did.
Are you going to finish the answer, or?
And it was the night that the living met the dead.
Okay.
Correct?
I don't know.
Okay.
Is that your guess?
That is my, as far as my understanding of where Halloween comes from.
Go and find out.
All right. So Halloween holiday has its roots in an ancient Celtic festival of the Samhain, which is pronounced Samhain.
Smashing Pumpkins?
A Gaelic word. It's a pagan religious celebration to welcome the harvest at the end of summer, when people would light bonfires and wear costumes to ward off spirits and ghosts. That's how it all started. So it's an Irish thing, it's crazy.
I love the Irish. Dylan is Irish.
Thank you. So yeah, they a lot of holidays and things that we recognize or don't recognize as holidays, and some people do, have a lot of roots and their feet firmly planted in some sort of religion or superstition. So yeah, I personally love it. Cory and I are huge fans of Halloween. No, I don't think that the world should get the day off. I mean, that'd be amazing if we did, and it'd be amazing if we got the day off any day of the year. So, but I've always, growing up, I was pretty artistic, and I would make, my mom kind of let me do my own thing on that time of year. And so I would, make dummies and dress them up on the porch and, do a lot of crazy, ghoulish makeup and make tombstones out of foam core board and, really, really go to town for Halloween. And it was just something that I always loved. And I ended up meeting Cory, whose dad was like the king of Halloween. Like, oh man.
Oh yeah. Uncle Porky. Absolutely.
It was just crazy. Real coffins and, animatronics before there were publicly made available animatronics that you can buy,
Yeah, he a lot of the shit that he had, he made himself.
That's what I'm saying. Levers and pulleys.
Yeah,
and
he
would
go to scrap yards and everything and just find little shitty motors that he could figure out something to do with. Mm-hmm. And he'd make his own quote unquote animatronics that way. And I mean, there were some available at the time. Like a lot of the really good ones though were thousands of dollars, and my dad was very cheap and did not ever want to purchase anything like that. So he would try to figure out a way to make it himself. And usually he would. He'd figure out one way or another to make the idea that he was going for. Mm-hmm. It might have only lasted 2 days, but he would figure it out. If I had a running tally of all the stuff that he made that only lasted like for Devil's Night, he wouldn't even turn it on. Like he'd have the display out for I think it was like 2 weeks before Halloween. He put everything out. And there were certain things like he wouldn't even turn on because he's like, if I turn this on for too long, it's not going to last to Halloween. Like this is running on bare bones right now. If this runs for more than 8 hours, then we're going to have a problem. It's not going to be running on Halloween. So yeah, he was definitely, he wasn't against buying props and animatronics, but like I said, he was very cheap in that sense and didn't necessarily care to go that route. He wanted to try to figure out stuff that he could make on his own, which I applaud. And I shouldn't say he had the time to do it because he definitely didn't. But I've gone like, there's been a couple of animatronics that I've seen in the store that I'm like, yeah, you know what? I definitely want to get that. And
a couple.
You muted yourself.
Not a couple. Jeez. Yeah, you've done more than a couple, which is great because I'm living vicariously through you. And this year,
I bought one myself. My mom bought me one. But it's so, you go to the store and you see it in action, you're like, yes. And now having the love that like my dad did for the holiday,
the holiday.
I really,
Not exactly.
I see stuff like that. I'm like, oh man, like I get now when my dad saw certain things that he was like, I really want to get that. But at the time he already had, he had me, and that was like when his Halloween display was like first starting, but then had my sisters after that. And so there was 3 kids involved. It was kind of hard to justify, spending even $100 on a Halloween prop. As right now, Danielle and I do not have any children. So
real coffins weren't free.
Todd, hang on, buddy. Okay. God damn it. We're going to run over an hour. Sorry. So I'm going to disagree with you there, sir. Because guess what?
You got to know a person. You got to know a guy.
No.
By the way.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, never mind. I will shut up and listen.
So my dad had 3 real caskets. One, which I am now the proud owner of. It's an 18th century casket that someone was exhumed out of. He received that for free.
Mm-hmm.
There was an even earlier version. So believe it or not, when people used to be cremated way back when, they didn't use a cardboard casket or a paper casket of any sort. They used steel caskets. And they were reused for person after person after person after person.
They have holes in them or anything?
No, they laid them inside the steel.
Uh-huh.
And lit that bitch on fire.
They put Pam on them so in case people stuck to them, they didn't.
I think there was a little bit of olive oil involved.
No, but I mean, what got the fire inside the steel?
Nothing.
So just the box just heated up.
Yes. It was a terrible way of doing it.
That's why you needed Pam.
And that's why things changed a long time ago. But there was a
crematorium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, nice. He stopped himself before he wrote a buck. I love it.
Oh, now that there's pressure on me, I gotta make sure.
And his friend threw him a fucking life raft.
He did.
I would have figured it out. So, but they were, when my dad was working in narcotics.
Creamy ice cream?
Yeah. Criminal Llama Ding Dong. They would always do their briefings before they did a raid, either at a graveyard or a cemetery or a crematorium if they couldn't find any graveyards or cemetery around their target house. And the idea for that was being, if we don't do what we're supposed to do correctly on this raid, this is where we're going to end back up, is right here. So it was kind of a, emotional mental thing that they would do. But either way, that aside, they were doing a briefing at a crematorium, and in one of the dumpsters, there was a casket sticking out of it.
For people that don't know or listening outside of the very close-knit circle, Cory's dad was the chief of the local police. So
he was. And, well, he rose up through the ranks. This was the time of his career when he worked narcotics. And before the idea of all these cities having SWAT teams and all that, narcotics teams would do their own raids. These very highly unprofessional, untrained guys would bust down doors and clear houses when they shouldn't have been. Either way, different story for a different time.
Mm-hmm.
So he sees this casket sticking out of the dumpster, and he goes in, finds the manager of the crematorium, and the guy's like, yeah, no, it's something we've had in the basement for years and years and years and years. We finally, obviously we don't have any use for it because we don't use steel caskets for cremation anymore. That stopped hundreds of years ago. So yeah, we're getting rid of it. He's like, yeah, if you want it, you can.
Probably had some stains and buildup in it as well.
So they went and finished their raid. After they got done with the debriefing, all the paperwork and all that, my dad came back with a couple guys from his crew that night, and went and took the raid van, put that casket in the raid van, brought it to my house, and my dad snuck it into the garage.
Your tax money hard at work, ladies and gentlemen.
That's why I said when they were done. The only downside, yes, they did use a city van. But he brought it back to the house and made sure it was late at night, so my mom wasn't awake when he brought it back. Because Todd, this thing was so burnt and rusted over.
And for you guys that are wondering, yes, his mother is alive and well. She was not put into the casket.
Yeah, no.
She's okay.
So he was out in the garage trying to get this thing open for hours. Finally just took a crowbar to it and just wrenched the top of it open. And Todd, the plume of smoke that came out of this casket was absolutely disgusting. And when you looked down,
almost as nice as that Bob elbow powder.
Oh man. Just those
Todd,
hundreds of years of elbow powder.
Todd, I'll tell you what. I was going to snort some of Bob's elbow powder for $200. Whatever was in this casket, I wouldn't have snorted for $1 million. Because amongst all this ash and everything like that, there were little chunks of bone.
Little noodle nuggets in there, weren't there?
Yeah. And so my dad turned on the shop vac. Suck those bad boys out. Tossed it in the trash. Tried painting this thing. There was no amount of paint. There's still spots on it to this day that you cannot paint over because they're so burnt and rusted out.
I hope he said some kind words when he was throwing remains into the city receptacles.
Exactly, the shot vac.
To be honest with you, looking back on it, yeah, he didn't do the right thing. Because, yeah, he should have called. I'm like, I have human remains here. But being a child at the time, I didn't know that. I was like, oh, this is sweet. Like, Dad loves Halloween. I didn't know he was committing a crime.
I mean, I don't think he was committing a crime. They were throwing it away anyhow. It was going into the trash anyhow.
And it was, dude, it was so, like I said, they haven't used these for hundreds of years.
Dude, you can do your absolute best. You're not going to get everything out. It's something that's used constantly.
Yeah, I'm not talking like big chunks of bone. There was like little flecks that you could see.
He found a woman's femur with a boot on the end of it.
Yeah, no. It was just it was little pieces that you could tell were bigger than dust. That
right, exactly.
It's like those little crispy nuggets when you fry up some chicken wings. You're like, oh, just
nibble on that real quick.
Yeah,
that crispy bit.
Yeah.
Your dad bit on one of the gold teeth, and he's like, huh, "That's a keeper."
Ooh, that's real. So yeah, so and the other 18th century one that he received was actually there was a store called Dusty Corner Ceramics down on Cherry Hill by us years and years and years ago. And every year this lady during Halloween would put this casket in the window, and every year my dad would go in there and ask her how much she wanted for it. And she's like, Mike, you don't understand, like this is a very special casket. Like I went through a lot to get this, and it's always going to be, part of the store. Every year he would still go in there and offer, and not a ton of money, but he would offer some money. And she always said, nope. And finally the one year she was closing up the store, and we happened to drive past it, and my dad saw the sign that said store closing, blah, 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 whatever. And so he just locked the brakes up on the car. I don't even think he parked in the spot. I think we were parked on Cherry Hill, and he ran in the store. And he found the owner, and he's like, hey, well, like if you're closing, like you always said that casket was like number one for Halloween in the store. Like if you're not going to have the store anymore, where like is the casket now for sale? And she's like, oh, Mike, she's like, I sold it to someone. And the look on his face, I've never wanted to see my dad hit a woman. He honestly, he wanted to kill this lady. Like in his, like, he never said this out loud, but I can see in his eyes. He's like, I've been coming in here like the past 10 years asking to buy this casket, and you just sold it to someone that he was seeing red. And she's like, but listen. Like, she's like, years ago I had a buddy make one up that looks kind of like it. And he was already like, no, I don't want the one your buddy made that I could have made myself. She's like, let's just go in the back and take a look at it. And my dad, being the nice guy that he was, he's like, all right, yeah, let's go look at it. And I knew right away, I'm like, oh, he's not going to want anything to do with this casket this guy made. Mm-hmm. So we walk in the back, and there's a big bow on the original 18th century casket. And she goes, I knew you were going to be coming in. It's all yours.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
amazing.
Awesome.
Isn't that amazing?
So, to counter your point, Todd, 2 of those caskets were free. That's where I'm coming back around.
Touche. But it's still not a holiday because I don't get the day off.
God damn it!
Still not a holiday.
And real quick too, while we're on the subject of Halloween, I did just want to pull this picture up for everyone. This is Todd and Mary, and Todd and his
in my lederhosen in Munich.
Just so you guys all know, not out there calling Todd a liar. Todd, what's that thing in the middle poking through your suspenders there?
I know.
Oh, I know.
I had a beer. That's called a Bierget auf Deutsch. A Bierget.
Jesus, you had a lot. You had a lot of beer that day.
That was my shed back in the day. That was my shed. If you have a really nice tool, you got to build a shed over it. Mary knows that.
Now, the look on Mary's face right there is saying, God damn it, I can't believe my husband's wearing this.
No, actually, no. The funnier thing is, if you've not ever worn or purchased lederhosen, the fact that I was able to fit, because I went into a lederhosen store with like 10,000 pair of lederhosen, and I think I tried on 9,875 pair before I found a pair that fit and was able to accommodate my shed and my thighs and everything else. But I rocked my lederhosen when I was in Munich for Oktoberfest. And actually now it fits. I call them barbecue pants now, because anybody who comes over for a barbecue, I don't even wear the shirt anymore. I just put my lederhosen on and rock myself a brisket and some ribs, and we make it happen.
So why are you always barbecuing in lederhosen?
Because I was in barbecue pants now. If I'm not at Oktoberfest, I still got to wear my gear, right? They're purpose built.
That's absolutely 100% true. So, moving on, I wanted to touch on this before we did end the show tonight. Something that I've tried to get on the show a little bit sooner, but I've been finger wagged a couple times, not by present company. So you do the math, but let's continue since last year for this year, 2023's installment of The Haunt for this October. The Haunt for this October. So for The Haunt for this October, we have different places in Michigan that there have been notable hauntings, and they have been documented. And so this year we're going to talk about, for this episode, we're going to talk about 2 of those. 2 little small paragraphs that we're going to fill you in on right here in Michigan. So the first one is a scary story, and the second one is a nicer, warmer feeling story. So the first one is Crooks and Books. So when a library is built on the site of a former jail, not everyone is into peace and quiet, especially because it's where Detroit's last public execution by hanging occurred. The Skillman branch of the Detroit Public Library is known for strange noises, including moans, rumblings, and rattling chains. This beautiful 1932 established building is in downtown Detroit. You can go there tomorrow. And also houses the National Automotive History Collection. But many, many people have reported all sorts of moans and groans in this building, which was the last site for the last Detroit's last public execution by hanging. The next one is in Holland, Michigan, and it's titled Heartfelt. Heartfelt. So Dor Felt was this gentleman's name who built his wife, Agnes, a beautiful mansion near Holland, Michigan in 1928. Sadly, Agnes died not long after moving in, and Dor followed soon after. But this love story has a happy ending as they are seen waltzing together, translucent, arm in arm, in the ballroom, and enjoying their house, almost on a nightly basis. Heavy doors open and close on their own, and sometimes Agnes even slaps somebody with a blast of cold air if they behave badly, many have said. And that's this instance of the haunt for this October. So if you want to check those two places out, Holland, Michigan, and Detroit, Michigan, check them out.
The big D.
That's right. Right now we got a shot in front of
Derek
us.
What's that? Derek commented on the lots of moaning. And he said more moaning, and I go, yeah, I recently heard that in a massage parlor recently, so that must have been hot.
Right, exactly. Yeah, don't go down there at night. That's all I got to say. We got a shot of Fireball shot. Todd, you doing
Crown Apple?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I ran out of Crown Apple. You guys actually shouted me out tonight.
How much? Would you have a thimble?
I had a whole fifth.
You did not have a whole fifth.
My ass.
You had a whole fifth maybe that you bought 3 weeks ago.
Well, 3 episodes ago.
Yeah, exactly. That would be 3 weeks ago.
Exactly. You guys are working me harder than I'm used to.
I'm hoping that the moans and groans coming from Derek's bedroom are a very unhappy marriage. That's all I'm hoping for, considering that it is my cousin.
Keep rocking it, Derek. You keep making those moans and groans. I like it.
So if you got one, put it in a glass. Cheers with us. If you don't have time, pause it. You got all the time in the world. Come back. Here we are. Cheers. Salute. Nastrovia. And
salute.
Cheers.
And since Bob wasn't here, nobody asked, but I'm drinking that Atomic Pumpkin, baby. Even though it's not a holiday, I'm in the Halloween spirit. So that Atomic Pumpkin, and I am not a person who likes any pumpkin beverages of any kind, but this is a solid beer by New Belgium Brewing.
Oh man, it is so good. I know Atomic Pumpkin, and I do like Screaming Pumpkin as well. There's a couple of them, and I remember reading on the front or the back, I don't know which fucking side it was on. It's been some years, but it had said, made with real pumpkin puree. And I'm like, whoa!
That's disgusting.
That sounds disgusting.
That's nasty.
I hate pumpkin pie. That sounds disgusting. But
you
know
disgusting.
What? It fucking works. I don't know what they did, but they made it into a delicious.
They put sweet potatoes in it.
Okay. No, they didn't.
They only put a little smidge of puree in there. They're like, oh, it's got real pumpkin puree in it, like 1 nanobillionth of an ounce.
That's still too much.
Not a nanobillionth.
Todd, do you like pumpkin pie?
I do not.
All right,
we're all in agreement here then.
So we're no pumpkin pie for the three.
Yeah, pumpkin pie is disgusting.
So we're going to close out the show with a question.
Yeah, boy.
And it's going to be along the lines of what we've already been talking about, and so I think it'll be pretty easy.
Existential question of the week.
All right, guys. So for this installment of Nick's Existential Question, we're going to run along that Halloween theme, and we're not going to talk about, the Shocker line and Arthur Penn and Teller, and
Shocker,
how we may be in copyright infringement or violation.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I'm no lawyer, but I'm going to say 100%.
I will.
For sure.
I will tell you. Listen, no one can tell me what I can say and what I can't say.
Yeah, except
Word.
for
If I was making money for it, that'd
Except
be one
the
thing.
government.
If I was making money for it, that'd be one thing. I am not making money for this. I can say whatever the fuck I want. So, baby. Anyhow, I was actually asked at work the other day to do the pen teller or whatever the fuck his name is, to do the baby.
Arthur Penhallow.
Yeah. We were talking about Riff, and I'm assuming that it was because we were talking about old school Riff, but it may have been a nod to someone that secretly listens to the podcast. Because why would you think that I would be able to do that? But he came out and said, can I get a little Arthur Penn, whatever his name is?
Penhauer.
I still can't. I can't put it together. I'm sorry. I know you guys think this is a big fucking bit, but I really can't. I think it's Penn Teller, Penn Holler, Tallow. I don't know what the fuck it is. Arthur. That's all I know. But he was like, "Oh, can you do that?" And I went, "Baby!" And I did it, and it was a great moment. But anyhow, that being said,
Oh, so that story you just made up. Okay, gotcha.
no, it actually happened. So that being said, so for this episode of Nick's Existential Question, I want to know favorite Halloween costume that you've donned yourself in your lifetime. What was your favorite costume? Whether it be effort put in, comedy gold, or just some sort of nostalgia. Like, what was your favorite costume that you ever had for Halloween? That's what I want to know.
I can go first because this is going to be really easy for me, and this is. It's also going to be kind of bad because I know there could be a shitstorm after this.
Okay.
As much as I just went on and on about Halloween and how much I love it, how much my dad loved it. My dad was the same way, but I dressed up when I was very, 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 very young for Halloween to go trick or treating.
You dressed up or someone dressed you up?
Well, usually my parents would. And ever since the age of where like I could have chose my own costume, our house was such a mecca for Halloween. Like we stopped trick or treating at a very early age because there was no reason to go out and walk the neighborhood
and get apples with razor blades in them.
Exactly, or needles.
Why would you leave? Why would you leave this heavenly area?
We didn't
when you were the epitome of Halloween. Not to mention that your parents probably were like, hey motherfucker, you can walk on 2 feet. We need help. Go pull some strings for that zombie over there.
Yeah, there was always a lot to do. But yeah, we never really left the house around Halloween. Like, I mean, our parents, like, if we wanted to go trick or treating, my mom would have taken us, but again, like everyone was flocking to our house. So
I'm going to cut this in half for 1 second. So I'm going to, this is going to be a two-sided coin. So not only is this going to be favorite costume, and they can be different memories as long as they're somewhat succinct. Favorite costume / best Halloween memory.
Okay, fair enough. Right. So as far as the costume thing, that like because we stopped dressing up because like I said, so many people were coming to our house. We didn't like there was people like we had animatronics on the lawn that could talk and do all this, and like people were throwing candy at those. One Bob actually voiced. I'm sad he's not here to talk about Bob the Skeleton.
Bob the Skeleton.
But yeah, that's how we trick or treated. Bob would just be like, oh, because no one thought that they could actually hear Bob, that Bob could hear them. And we had way before like GoPros and all that, I had a baby monitor set up underneath the skeleton. And so Bob was in a van in our driveway and he could hear everything that these kids were saying on the baby monitor. So they thought it was all a pre-recorded thing, that it was just going on and on. And finally, they'd be like, oh, well, what am I wearing? And Bob would tell them their costume. And he'd be like, oh, so for that, I want a Kit Kat. And they would try to toss a Kit Kat into Bob the Skeleton's lap. Within 30 minutes, there was enough candy at Bob the Skeleton's feet to fill 3 candy bags for Halloween.
What is this sorcerer's magic?
Yeah, so we did not have to go anywhere. So I stopped dressing up at a very, very, very early age, And again, too, like I said, even my dad, like as much as he was into Halloween, he never dressed up. Like people would show up to the house and be like, "Oh, I want to talk to the homeowner, blah, blah. He's got to have this amazing costume on." And my dad would walk out in like a jacket and his blue jeans and be like, "Oh, hey." I'm like, what? They're like,
That's sort of anticlimactic.
Yeah, they're like, we thought you were going to have this amazing costume. He's like, "Oh, I'm not really a costume guy." And that was it.
So what was your favorite costume?
I mean, as far as that I wore,
yeah.
I mean, the last one I can really remember was my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one, the Leonardo that I wore on the one episode we did a couple years ago.
What's your favorite? Cory, that was not you wore a shirt.
No. I'm saying from childhood. That's honestly the only costume I can remember.
Oh, when you were a kid.
Yeah.
The one that you showed on the episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still going to make fun of him for that forever, by the way.
That's fine.
Hi, Leonardo.
And then your favorite memory was probably a compilation of memories.
Oh, dude, just
at your house. Your dad putting on Halloween.
Oh, dude, seeing
Bob being there and
seeing what our house turned into on Halloween, it was insane. A couple years they had to shut our block down because there was too many cars that couldn't get through, and there were so many people walking around. Like the 1 year, I think we roughly calculated there was over 3,000 people that came to the house.
Jeez,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
we should have ended with Cory. Okay,
sorry.
Should have.
All right,
Should've.
so TD.
Favorite costume was the costume I never got to wear. I'll never forget when my mom, because I don't know what kind of changed in our family lives, but the day that my mom took me to a real store, not Kmart or a store that was selling, packaged Halloween things. My mom took me to an actual store that was 100% dedicated to costumes, and I got this gorilla mask and the gloves. By far, that I remember being like, "Oh my God, my parents hear me." They spent money because, again, I can't remember what those the Kmart costumes cost, but it was substantial because they were rubber. It was, and again, don't get me wrong, it wasn't like this hundreds of dollars, but it was like a rubber gorilla mask and the gloves. That's still to this day, I'll never forget it. And I remember, like I said, my childhood was kind of a little bit stolen because my brother and sister, who were 9 years younger than me, were terrified of it. And it was rubber, so it wasn't really that realistic, but they were little kids. And so the costume, that's the one that I remember, and I never, ever got to wear it anywhere. And in fact, the funnier thing is I make fun of one of my sister because when I moved away from home when I was 14 years old, went away to boarding school, never came back. But one thing that I took with me was a trunk full of all the things that I had from my childhood and from high school. And I made the mistake of leaving that trunk at my mom's house when I was an adult. And my mom, during the course of moving, gave that trunk to one of my sister's friends, and her house burned down. And so I lost all the things that were in that trunk. Tons of high school memorabilia, but that costume was in that trunk. I would have kept that for forever because,
oh my God,
that was the day that my parents spent the most money ever, and they probably spent like $40 or $50 on a Halloween costume, and I'll never ever forget it because they literally, we weren't people with money, and it was a real investment for them to buy that for me that I never got to wear, and I know that my parents kind of got. We just spent a bunch of money on this kid's costume that our other kids are afraid of, and so we're not letting him wear it. And he'll use it when he's an adult. And I never ever got to wear it anywhere, but that's my favorite costume. And then my favorite Halloween kind of memory is I went to a party as an adult with a bunch of I work in tech. I worked with a bunch of millionaire salespeople. And I went to one of the coolest Halloween parties ever. They were strict. Everyone had to wear a costume. It's actually where the first time I donned my Blacula, I wore a nice suit. I had a real nice professionally done wig, makeup, the teeth, the works. And I was Blacula. And to this day, I have pictures still in one of my digital picture frames of us doing blow suck shots. And Mary and I went. Still to this day, one of the most amazing experiences of my life. I'll never forget it. But didn't get to wear my gorilla mask and my rubber gloves because my brother and sister were afraid of him. So Nathan and Nicole, I want to punch you in the neck because you screwed up my childhood. But those are my two things. And by the way, even though it's not a holiday, I do really like Halloween. I love it when people are creative. But like I said, in my bougie way, I do like just freaking rolling in, being comfortable. So wearing my, if you'll call it stolen valor, I love rolling in my very comfortable stolen valor costume every year, and it's not disrespectful. I don't. Again, it's just about, hey, I want to be involved in the thing. I love it. I tried to serve in the military, so I don't really steal it. I was physically unable to, even though I was a really, really good athlete, but it was unable to serve our country. But mad respect and mad comfort to those fatigues, especially the Desert Storm gear. You can get it at Army surplus stores, and it feels really good. It's easy to slide into.
All right, so there you go, everyone. For those of you this year around the Seattle area, if you see a guy walking around in Desert Storm fatigues asking for free shit, you know it's who picks Desert Storm fatigues, Todd? No one's
Cory. They know me anyway.
Well, fair. Then I guess you're all set. You have nothing to worry about.
I got nothing to worry about. They know who I am. It's me, TD.
Desert Storm. That camo. Oh my. Okay. That's a whole nother issue we have, Todd.
So I would say favorite costume. I don't know, like growing up, like my dad was huge into he loved the aspect of Halloween. He didn't like, getting involved in it like Cory's father did. But he was like, hey, we're gonna take you to the best mass shops that are out there. We went to Why Not and Wyandotte that specifically did costumes.
Why Not and Wyandotte? I love Wyandotte. Can you spell it for people who aren't from the area?
Wyandotte is Wyandotte, and Why, WHYNOT. Why Not was in Wyandotte, and it was a costume shop. And for whatever reason, like, some kids, you go to Disney, or some kids see Santa or whatever, and you get that magical feeling. It's something as a kid that you can't really replace. And I always got that feeling about Halloween. I got the magic that, things that you thought weren't real suddenly became real, and there was the allure of, spirits and ghosts and magic, and it was all in one. And it was just, for someone with a wild imagination growing up like myself, it was just a very magical time. I thought it was amazing. I still think it's amazing. I've kind of settled into my adult life, but, I still have that portion of a small orange pumpkin-colored flame that lives inside of me. And for me, it was, he took us to places like that, and these masks were adult masks. They don't make children's very expensive latex horrifying masks. They make them for adults. And he, opened up his wallet all the time for whatever we wanted, for Halloween. And one year it was this giant adult size triceratops head. Basically you've got this triceratops head with these two little dusty kid legs coming out from underneath it, and at the time you think how asinine that is. But to retrospectively look back and say that, your father, who was going through a divorce and who was paying, my mom and child support and all this different stuff, and trying to support everything and moving out to a different home, and he's still, able to say, hey, look, get what you want. There were certain times of the year that my dad really just shined, and Halloween was one of them. And so it was just these masks, even at the time, were probably about $70. And we're talking early 90s.
Yeah.
So
I get, like I said, I don't know what my parents paid, but it was way more than what you bought at Kmart, because this predates Walmart's even.
Yeah, 100%. And so it's kind of a double-edged sword, because there were a lot of fond Halloween memories that I have. My grandfather was in the military. There are years that I had jungle fatigues, and I had desert storm fatigues, and I was an army man, and I was a pirate some years, and all this stuff. And we always celebrated Halloween, and it was amazing. And my dad, and something I would really like to do with him even now is that he kind of got away from, but he kind of had that same love for Halloween like Cory's dad did, but he just not to the same effect. But I remember even after we moved out, he had this mask, and it was like just an older, it was basically like a grungy kind of Santa mask. It was an old man with a gray beard and long gray hair, and it was just eerie looking, and he would put this mask on and just wrap a blanket around himself, and he would sit on the porch, and there would be people that would come up and they would poke him, and they would think he was fake, and at the last minute he would just move his head, and people would freak out, and so, but he loved stuff like that. And I feel like, in the near future that I'm going to buy something like that and say, all right, this Halloween we're going to your house, and you're going to do the old man thing again, and we're going to put a blanket around you, and you're going to get back into it, because I feel like it needs to be revitalized. I actually just saw him on Facebook, like selling some of the Halloween, like little candles and stuff we had in the house growing up for years, and now he's selling them, so not to say he's getting rid of nostalgia, but we may need to bring him back. But that being said, so that's one aspect. I was the product of divorced parents when I was 5, so it's kind of a bifold for me. So on my dad's side, that's the amazing memory I have. On my mom's side, with my sisters, I was a child of the 80s, and I had the Stranger Things 80s kid Halloween. I had the goofy costumes, the pillowcase, running around the neighborhood, kids everywhere. There were no police cars. Really no cars. Like every house had Halloween decorations, going around and like visiting all your neighbors that you never see. Like I had a great childhood Halloween memory. Like when you see it on Stranger Things and things like that they're trying to depict the late 80s/90s, that was my childhood. And for me, that's
awesome.
It was amazing. It was, and my sister stealing my candy when I was not around, and like that was all real for me,
If I was allowed to live in your neighborhood, you know what I've done? I'd have given you some halls for your candy too. And you'd be
fuck off.
And there's
you'd have been right next to those people. You would have been right next to those people that fucking give out pennies.
Exactly. It's like, and then there's this one black asshole who would give us halls.
And then the fucking circus peanuts.
Hey. Circus peanuts are good.
They're disgusting. They should be a doorstop.
I like a good circus peanut.
But I had a great Halloween, and something that I will, and I want to say, and I'm not even going to say it. I'm going to put it in my phone for because I thought about this earlier in the week, and it's a great existential question, and I'm not going to spoil it right now. So,
okay, so
sweet.
So then, because your memory of Halloween as a kid, you said with your neighborhood and how many kids were out, and how everyone in the neighborhood was into it. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily into Halloween itself with decorating their yard or whatever, but everyone participated on Halloween night and allowed trick-or-treaters to come to their door, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
So I saw a bit of a decline for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And the first year that Danielle and I were living together, and I thought about putting Halloween stuff up, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know this neighborhood. Like I've never lived out here. Let me at least see like how the neighborhood is with kids coming by and how busy it gets. Like I'm not going to go through all this work if absolutely no one comes down this street.
Yeah.
And like I said, I had already seen a decline from the years prior, like of just people not going out and not trick-or-treating. I was pleasantly surprised to see that there was a pretty good turnout in our neighborhood when the first year that her and I were living together, and on Halloween night, it was nothing crazy, but it was definitely above my expectations of where I saw Halloween going and what it actually was in that neighborhood, the neighborhood we currently live in. So I want to ask you guys, Todd, what's it like around you? Is it booming? Is it?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's actually I actually do miss it, because when we first moved out to Washington, we rented a house for a couple of years in a neighborhood, and we had trick-or-treaters in it. And what I really liked about it was we did meet neighbors that we hadn't met, and we had Rottweilers, and so to have people come over and then see how our dogs were different than what they imagined Rotties to be like was really, really cool. But then as the Jeffersons did, I moved on up, and now I'm on a very large piece of land where the undesirables aren't able to get to me. And so we don't have trick-or-treaters where I live anymore. I'm on a 20-acre parcel and with like 3 houses, and so we don't get trick-or-treaters anymore. I do miss it because again, I like to buy candy and give it out, and I don't know that I'd put out coffins and do the whole mechanized things, but I do like interacting with my neighbors and showing the kids that, hey, there's a guy who lives near me who will be nice to me. And again, I miss the camaraderie and the community that Halloween does, but kind of in my current state of affairs, like I said, there's no people don't come down my road to trick or treat because, well, it's not safe for them or safe for me, probably.
I don't
Fair
think,
enough.
and I will say maybe unpopular opinion, but I don't think there should be an age to trick or treat. I really don't. I don't think it should be.
There's a caveat to that. If you're going to be I agree with you 100%. If you're down and you're doing it and you're dressed up, and you're into your thing and you're not being a dick, I think then there is no age limit. Unfortunately, what my and this is kind of when I talk about giving out halls, when I was in college, the local community would come out trick or treating, and all the high school students thought it was pretty cool to also go trick or treating with no costumes and bang on doors and be assholes. And so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna give everybody halls. That way, all you dickheads get what you deserve. But I'm with you. If your heart is in the right place,
yes,
and you're having fun, then I think there's no age limit. It's like Disneyland or Disney World.
I think that there's a certain magic, and I don't think it's age specific about Halloween. And I know, Cory, you said you kind of ended it early, but for me, like, it wasn't of course, a house like the Seleskis would have been like a mirage. It would have been like, oh man, this is awesome, but going up to a house that had one jack-o'-lantern that was, had a candle in it that was burning, with a awesome neighbor that was like, hey, happy Halloween.
Giving out good candy.
Here you go. I don't even care what they get. It's not even about the candy. It's like,
but when you were a kid.
As a kid, yes. But I'm saying, like, it was just, it was almost like for a small point in time, the world came together, And everyone was so wonderful. Everyone was so nice. They were welcoming. Like, it wasn't something weird.
Agreed.
And you talked to people, and they said, "Oh my God, you did a good job. Look at that. You look so scary." Whatever it may be, whatever, if they're bullshitting or not. Like, I don't think that should be something age specific. I think, like, if you don't want to give me candy, you don't have to give me candy. That's fine. But I think, like, if the four of us went out and we were like, we really want to dress up, Like, I think it should be rewarded. Like, if you dress up, it should be rewarded. Like, if you're like,
Cory's so short, I think we can get away with it too. Still,
if you wanted to,
you can jump on my shoulders, Todd.
If you wanted to show up, the high school kids that were being jackasses that showed up with pillowcases and no mask, like, fuck off. No, you get pennies and halls.
Yeah, that I wouldn't even waste my time giving you a halls. But like you guys said, yeah, if you were 30,
X-Lax, if you could get out in front of it,
there you go.
X-Lax makes the individual surveys.
That I would get on board with. But yeah, no, if you're 46 years old and come walking up my driveway on Halloween night and you got a fucking costume on, guess what? You're getting candy.
Exactly.
That's it. There's no other question or anything you have to ask about it. Dress up for Halloween, you get candy.
100%. I agree. To all you guys.
Happy Halloween, bitches.
You would think it was October 29th, but it's not. We got a whole month of this bullshit. So for Bob, Todd, Cory, and myself, let's all celebrate the month of October. Thank you for joining in for the Schnozzcast. Happy October, and hope to see you next week.